Now, let us tell you this, that defense isn't the only part that we're looking at when we speak of India and Russia ties. One of the crucial relationships that has also developed between these two countries is based on India's crude oil imports from the country, and at a time when Russian economy was also in fact badly hit with its war against Ukraine. So where does it stand as of 2025? In fact, specifically for the month of November. Let's also take you through that very report, the data coming in from the Kepler report. Now, we have listed out firstly where all of our crude oil imports come in from in terms of percentages. Russia is still at the very top, which is 38%. Iraq is at 20% itself. Saudi Arabia is at 14%. While UAE is at 11%, the United States has also entered the game with 7%, and other nations come in at 10%. So this is what it looks like in terms of India's crude oil imports as per the month of November and where it was. However, we are also taking a look at whether the crude oil imports is going to fall in the upcoming days given the sanctions and a lot of other global factors coming into play. This is also a Kepler report that we are referring to here, that we bring to you. As we were just mentioning, 38% of the total crude oil in November, 38% is what Russia accounts for, and this has surged to a 5-month high because of the front loading that's been underway. However, US in fact came out to sanction Lukoil and Rosneft from November 21st, which is something it had spoken about since Donald Trump had come into his second term of presidency. It's a warning he's been issued to India for time and again at this given point because of the war that is underway between Russia and Ukraine. And now December imports, it's being said by experts, is likely to fall by nearly half. Again, this is an analysis that's been done by experts. That's the expectation set for the month of December. December imports, because has already been seen at 1 Mbpd versus the 1.9 Mbpd in the month of November. So that is the drop that we've already seen, and it's being said that it might in fact get cut down by nearly half. So yes, this is what we are speaking of, and we will get to know more about what President Putin thinks about Russia and India's crude oil ties as well, the trade ties, the defense ties, all of it at 9 p.m. as we will be bringing to you this exclusive 100-minute conversation with President Vladimir Putin speaking to India today.
Is there a new world order falling in place? Because you're not going to G7, but you just visited China and you're about to visit India. What do you see as the new power center in the multipolar world?
We speak of the relationship between these two leaders, it's not one that's in fact newly occurred between the two leaders. Rather, Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Russian President have met each other 17 times in the past 11 years. So the bonhomie has quite a bonding and quite a history to it. India and Russia, of course, have had historic ties for decades, but whether it's an astronaut training or bilateral trade boost, Prime Minister Modi and President Putin have stood by each other for more than a decade now. And with Russian President's visit to India exactly 4 years after his last visit in 2021, right before the war began in 2022, this bond and this visit promises to in fact make it more stronger. The bond is to get more stronger with this very visit of the President Vladimir Putin to India. So we will take you through that very report of how the relationship has developed over the years. Take a look.
It's a dosti built over a period of 11 years, cemented with cooperation and mutual understanding. What has been a traditional international friendship took a leap forward with the confidence of two strong leaders, Narendra Modi and Vladimir Putin. Moscow and New Delhi always stand by each other.
We share very good and positive relations with Prime Minister Modi. He's a very wise man, and India has been making great strides in its development under his leadership. So this fully meets the interests of both India and Russia to work on this agenda.
When the world cornered Russia over the Ukraine invasion and Moscow needed to survive economically, New Delhi, while condemning the war, bought oil from them as it was cheap and suited Indian interests. Despite worldwide criticism, India stood its ground.
When oil prices go up, I think it's natural for countries to go out into the market and look for what are good deals for their people. But I am pretty sure if we wait 2 or 3 months and actually look at who are the big buyers of Russian gas and oil, I suspect the list won't be very different from what it used to be, and I suspect we won't be in the top 10 on that list.
Deputy National Security Advisor was just in India recently in the last few weeks, conveying clearly what the consequences of violating sanctions would be and what the mechanisms are, and also making clear that that we do not think India should accelerate or increase imports of Russian energy and other commodities, even as obviously those decisions are made by individual countries.
In the past 11 years, Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Russian President Vladimir Putin have met each other 17 times. Narendra Modi's first visit as the Prime Minister of India to St. Petersburg way back in 2017 was an emotional one. He remembered his visit to the Russian city as the Gujarat Chief Minister in 2001.
साल 2001 में जब ऐसा समिट पहली बार रूस में हुआ था, तब मेरे मित्र पुतिन रूस के राष्ट्रपति थे और मैं अटल जी के साथ उस समय के हमारे प्रधानमंत्री गुजरात के मुख्यमंत्री के तौर पर भारत के डेलीगेशन में आया था। राष्ट्रपति पुतिन की और मेरी राजनीतिक सहयात्रा के दौरान दोनों देशों की दोस्ती और सहयोग का सफर तेजी से आगे बढ़ा है।
Министр культуры Российской Федерации Владимир Ростиславович Митинский.
St. Petersburg Declaration of 2017 became the benchmark of stability in a turbulent, independent and interconnected world. A year later, the President of the Russian Federation, Vladimir Putin, met Prime Minister of India, Narendra Modi, for the 19th edition of the annual Bilateral Summit in New Delhi on October 4th and 5th in 2018.
The relationship between India and Russia needs no special introduction. It has very deep roots.
In 2019, when the two met again, the Indian Prime Minister had just ensured his second term. At Vladivostok, for the 5th Eastern Economic Forum, both leaders noted progressive development of the special and privileged strategic partnership between India and Russia.
भारत और रूस के बीच में संबंधों का सवाल है, वो हर क्षेत्र में फला फूला है। भारत का ऑयल एंड गैस के क्षेत्र में इन्वेस्टमेंट है, रशिया की कंपनियों का भी खास करके टेक्नोलॉजी ट्रांसफर, डिफेंस मैन्युफैक्चरिंग, एनर्जी के क्षेत्र में अभी अभी इन्वेस्टमेंट हुआ है। तो हम दोनों देशों के बीच में ऐसी कोई रुकावटें नहीं है।
Russian President Vladimir Putin came calling again in December 2021. The two leaders gave impetus for sustained progress in the special and privileged strategic partnership between both countries despite the challenges posed by the COVID pandemic.
हमारी स्ट्रेटेजिक पार्टनरशिप के 2 दशक पूरे हो रहे हैं। इस विशेष वर्ष में आपके साथ फिर मिल पाना मेरे लिए हर्ष की बात है, क्योंकि हमारी स्ट्रेटेजिक पार्टनरशिप में पिछले 20 वर्षों में जो उल्लेखनीय प्रगति हुई है, उसके मुख्य सूत्रधार आप ही रहे हैं। विभिन्न सेक्टरों में आज हुए हमारे समझौतों से इसमें मदद मिलेगी। मेक इन इंडिया कार्यक्रम के तहत को डेवलपमेंट और को प्रोडक्शन से हमारा रक्षा सहयोग और मजबूत हो रहा है।
Within months of this meeting, Russia invaded Ukraine and the war still continues. But it did not impact the relations India and Russia have built over decades. Neither did it impact the bonhomie enjoyed by the two leaders. In September 2022, Prime Minister Narendra Modi met Russian President Vladimir Putin in Samarkand, Uzbekistan, on the sidelines of the 22nd meeting of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization to discuss important issues of bilateral cooperation as well as regional and global issues of interest like the global food security, energy security, and availability of fertilizers. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi kicked off his third term with a trip to Russia for the 22nd Indo-Russian Annual Summit in July 2024. New Delhi and Moscow signed 9 MOUs and agreements in several sectors, including trade, climate, and research.
मैंने तय किया है कि मैं तीसरे टर्म में 3 गुना ज़्यादा मेहनत करूंगा और मैं देश के लिए और अच्छे काम करने का प्रयास करूंगा।
आपने अपना पूरा जीवन जनता को समर्पित किया है और जनता ये जानते हैं।
मेरा वन लाइफ वन विजन है मेरा देश।
Prime Minister Modi made 4 visits to Russia during his first term, but in his second term it was only once. Whereas the Russian president in past 11 years has come to India twice. Twice in the first term of Prime Minister Modi and once in the second term. Vladimir Putin's visit to New Delhi will be his 4th visit to India in past 11 years, marking a deeper bond between the two countries in Modi 3.0. Bureau Report, India Today.